Okay, so we're going to begin in a comfortable seated position. So it might be legs crossed, might be legs straight out in front of you. You might want to prop your tailbone on a block or on a blanket if that's more comfortable for you this morning, like I have. Just wherever you are, make sure both sitting bones are grounding down. Make sure the spine is long, shoulders are falling away from the ears. And then we're going to begin by gently closing the eyes, or maybe just lowering the gaze if that feels better for you this morning. And as we always do, we're going to begin by attuning to the breath. Just noticing the breath, observing the inhale and the exhale as they happen naturally. Not trying to change it or do anything with it. Just focusing our attention on the anchor of the breath. Just letting yourself settle into the space. Just letting the inhale and exhale be as they are. No judgment. When you're ready, we're going to bring the awareness to the feet. Just bringing the awareness to the toes and the tops of the feet and the soles of the feet. Just scanning for any areas of tension or maybe soreness, aches and pains. And we're going to do that throughout your body, just to observe our starting point. Again, not with any judgment, just so that we know what we're working with this morning. Moving the awareness up now into the lower legs, to the knees, to the upper legs, the hips, the pelvis, the buttocks, scanning those areas, just noticing. Then moving up into the torso, the stomach, the back, the chest, back of the shoulders, front of the shoulders. Just noticing any areas of tension, soreness, discomfort, or ease. And bringing your awareness now to the hands, the fingers, the back of the hands, the palms, the lower arms, the upper arms, the neck and the throat, the face, the back of the head, the top of the head. Awareness of the whole body now. Aware of the union between the body and the mind. When you're ready, gently open the eyes. And we're going to do some alternate nostril breathing to begin with. Nadi Shodhana, which is my favourite to practice and to teach, as you probably already know. I think we've all done this before, but we're going to curl in the first finger and the middle finger so that we can use the ring finger and the thumb on the bridge of the nose to close the nostrils in sequence. And we're going to begin this morning by breathing in through the right nostril and out through the left, back in through the left and out through the right. And that's going to be our pattern for this morning. Very balancing, very energising because we're starting on the right hand side. I'm going to prop my elbow up on my knee just because I get a lazy tired arm when I'm doing this, so feel free to do the same, it's your choice. And when you're ready, gently closing the eyes or lowering the gaze can help you to concentrate, and we'll begin by inhaling through the right nostril. Maybe a little pause at the top before you exhale through the left. Inhaling through the left and exhaling through the right. And I'm going to leave you to do that just for a couple of minutes with your own breath. I don't want to control the rhythm, I don't want to control the pause at the top or the bottom, whether there is or isn't one. Just focus on your own rhythm, your own breath. Feeling the equal breath. Feeling the calming and energising effects of this breath all at once. Bringing the two hemispheres of the brain into balance, the masculine and the feminine energies. And if it gets to be too much, you feel like it's enough, then releasing the breath, releasing the hand, just returning to normal breathing until we all catch up. Just a couple more breaths now. And we're going to finish on an exhale through the left nostril. So on your next exhale through the left nostril, release the hands. Open the eyes, we return into our normal breathing. We're going to come to sit with our legs crossed if not already, right shin in front of left. Bringing the shins parallel to each other, parallel to the front edge of the mat. I'm going to start with a few neck rolls. So taking a breath in, lowering the chin to the chest, and as we exhale, taking the gaze over the right shoulder. Inhaling to centre and exhaling over the left shoulder. And again, I don't want to be too prescriptive with the rhythm, so doing it with your own breath. If there's any areas that feel you want to spend a little bit more time there, a little bit more juicy than others, then please do, it's your practice. When you're ready, return into a neutral position. We're going to place the right fingertips on the floor outside of the right hip. We're going to begin to walk them away and sweep the left arm over for a gentle side bend. Inhaling back to the centre and exhaling over to the left hand side. Inhaling to centre, back over to the right. We'll do 3 on each side this morning. Inhaling to the centre, exhaling left. Really reaching away, trying to keep the chest square to the front of the mat. Inhaling one more on this side now. And we'll stay just for a moment longer this time, so really reach it over. Gaze to the lower hand or the top hand, whatever feels better for your neck this morning. Then inhaling back to centre. One more time on this left hand side. Inhaling back to centre. Let's bring the hands out in front of us, rotating the wrists one way. Really try and make those circles as big as you can, and the other way. We've got quite a bit on our hands our wrists this morning, so feel free to stop and do this again if you need to. Lifting the hands overhead, we're making fists and releasing quite quickly to build some heat in the forearms. And then we'll bring the hands out in front and give them a shake off. Lovely. So from here we're going to inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhaling, hinging forwards from the hips, keeping the spine long just until we feel some resistance in the hips. So even if you can get your head on the floor after a warm practice, we're not going there this morning. And if it feels nice, we can take a little sway into the hips from one side to the other. Or if it feels better, we can just sit in the stillness and let the breath bring some ease. Inhale and easing yourself up. We're going to bring the hands behind the hips with the fingertips pointing forwards. We're going to flatten the feet to the floor with the knees bent. And take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to lift the hips for reverse tabletop. Big stretch on the front of the shoulders. You can open the throat if it feels good, or feel free to keep the chin tucked if that's better this morning. Inhaling, lowering down. We're going to cross the legs the other way now, so with the left shin in front. Try and get those shins parallel to each other. Take a breath in to lengthen the spine, and as we exhale, hinging forwards. Again, just until you feel that resistance. A little sway if that feels nice. Maybe beginning to notice whether one side is easier than the other. The one side is tighter than the other. And that'll be our theme for today's practice. Just noticing the difference between the two sides, the balance. Inhaling, bringing yourself up. Let's bring those hands behind again with the fingertips pointing forwards, knees bent, feet are flat to the floor. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, lifting the hips. Squeeze those glutes, opening the throat and letting the head drop back only if it feels good for you. Keep lifting those hips, keep squeezing the glutes, easy for me to say. Inhaling, lowering the hips down, and we're going to come over onto our hands and knees. So hands are directly under the shoulders, knees are directly under the hips. If the wrists feel that they need it, we can move the hands slightly forward of the shoulders. I'm going to do a few rounds of cat and cow just to warm the spine up. So take a breath in, and on the exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, pull the belly button in, pushing up into the back of the shoulders and dropping the head in last of all. And maybe taking a moment extra here before we go the other way. So feeling to the spine, to the back of the shoulders. Inhaling, we're lifting the tailbone up, sitting bones to the sky, and melting the chest through the arms, gaze coming up last of all. And maybe taking a moment here, having a little wriggle through it if that feels good for you. And on an exhale, tucking the tailbone under and pushing up into the back of those shoulders. And doing 2 or 3 more rounds of this with your own breath. Feeling into the areas that you need to, taking a little sway wherever you need to. Just at your own pace. Keeping the focus in the body. Focus on the breath. When you're ready, coming back to a neutral position, we're going to lower the forearms to the mat, so we're on the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, palms are facing down, and we're going to shuffle the knees back, lowering the hips to gently come into Sphinx pose. So the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders, the gaze is between the fingertips. And in this back bend, we're just going to allow the glutes to relax, the legs to relax and be heavy. Feel them sinking down into the mat. Feel the spine draping gently all the way down from your shoulders, between the shoulder blades, right down into the pelvis. Just gently breathing into it. When shoulders, we're going to tuck the toes under, bringing ourselves back up onto our hands and knees. We'll do a couple of rounds of thread the needle on each side. So from here we're going to inhale the right arm all the way up to the sky, and exhaling we're going to thread it through underneath the left armpit, reaching the fingertips away. Inhaling, reaching all the way up to the sky. Exhale, threading it through. Inhale, reach. Exhale, threading it through. We're going to do 5 of these all together and we'll come into a static position on the last one. I think this is number 4 for me. So one more now, really reaching all the way up, opening that chest. And then as we come through, we're going to bring the right shoulder and the right ear down to the mat, or maybe a block or blanket if that feels better for you. Settle in there, the back of the hand, right hand is on the floor. Find a nice stable position there. And when you're ready, we're just going to tuck the left arm behind our back. The back of the left hand nestling into the lower back. Just to allow that left chest to open a little bit. Feel the twisting of the spine, the strength and flexibility of it. And inhaling, placing the left hand in front of the face, bringing yourself back up onto your hands and knees. Take a breath in, let's open the left arm all the way up to the sky, and exhaling, threading it through underneath the right armpit, reaching those fingertips. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, reaching it through. Really reach as far as you can when that arm comes underneath. Inhaling and exhaling. Again, we're doing 5 on this side. I think I'm on number 4. Inhaling, open as wide as we can, and exhaling this time, bringing the left shoulder and the left ear down to the mat. Just take a moment to settle in, find a comfortable place. When you're ready, we're going to wrap the right arm around behind the back. Right hand nestles into the lower back this time, just for a slightly deeper twist. Really feel the rib cage moving with the breath in this position. And you're placing the right hand in front of the face, bringing yourself back up onto your hands and knees. We're going to tuck the toes under, and we're going to float our hips up and back into downward facing dog, keeping the knees bent for this first one. Concentrating on the upper body first of all, spreading out the fingers. Slight bend of the elbow if you need to, don't lock those elbows out. Melting the chest through. Ears are roughly between the biceps. Let's give the head a wobble, make sure that we're not holding on to the head or the neck. And once you're happy with the upper body position, let's begin to walk the heels up and down. Find some length in the back of the legs. Stretching those hamstrings out, stretching the calves out. And then settling into a still downward facing dog, whether that's still with a slight bend of the knee or whether you can begin to allow the legs to straighten. Just find some stillness there, feel solid and grounded. Hands and feet doing equal work. And then we're going to gently inhale the right leg all the way up to the sky. We're going to bend the right knee and allow the right foot to fall open over the left hip, bringing the gaze underneath the right armpit if that feels nice. Just let that hip fall open. Then we're going to straighten that leg. And as we exhale, tucking the chin into the chest, stepping that foot through between the hands. Left knee comes down, flattening the left foot. Maybe slide that left knee back a little bit so you've got a really nice long stance for your low lunge. Bringing the hands up onto the front knee. Really bring the spine nice and tall and roll those shoulders back. So it is a modified low lunge. We've not wrapped our arms into it, but we can still feel the strength of this posture. And as we inhale, let's lower the fingertips to the floor and let's sit the hips back over the left foot, straightening the right leg, pulling the right toes up towards us for a gentle runner stretch. So we're moving this right leg towards straight, it doesn't have to be completely straight. We're keeping the spine long and we're hinging forwards over that leg. Inhaling, we're flattening that right foot, bending the right knee. Let's sweep the arms up this time. We can bring the gaze to the thumbs if it feels good. Or keep the gaze in front if that's better this morning, if your balance isn't feeling the best. Exhaling, the hands come down. Sitting the hips back, straightening that right leg. Pull those right toes up towards you. Take a breath in to lengthen the spine and then exhale. You might find you can come a little bit deeper, but only until you feel some resistance in the back of that leg. We don't want any pain. We all want to be able to walk tomorrow morning. Inhaling, flattening that foot, bending the right knee, bringing the spine nice and long. We're going to wrap the hands around behind us, interlacing the fingers, rolling the shoulders back and down, and push those hands away from the lower back as much as you can. Okay, a little challenge for your balance now. Find a gazing point, find a drishti to focus on. We're going to try and sit back into the runner's lunge, the runner's stretch, without using our hands. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, sitting the hips back, straightening that right leg. Pull the toes up if it feels okay, and hinge yourself forwards. Try not to fall over, put your hands down before you do. Inhale, bringing yourself forwards, placing those hands down. Let's step back to downward facing dog. Really melt that chest through. You can walk the heels again if that feels nice. And then inhaling, we're going to reach the left leg all the way behind us, bending that left knee, allowing that hip to open. Gaze into the left armpit if it feels good to do that. Feel that stretch right from your rib cage all the way down to the knee. And as we inhale, we're going to straighten that leg, and as we exhale, we're going to tuck the knee into the chest and step it through. Right knee comes down to the mat, flattening the right foot. Shuffle that right knee back if you need to get a good length of stride. Then we're bringing the hands up to that front knee again. Make sure the spine is tall, shoulders are rolling back and down. Everything is still very active. Take a breath in here as you exhale. Let's bring the fingertips down. Sitting the hips back, straightening the left leg for that runner's stretch. Make sure that we're not rounding the spine. Supporting yourself on your fingertips. Breathing into the back of that leg. And with an inhale, we're going to flatten that foot, bend the left knee. And as we exhale, sweeping the arms up. Again, gaze to the thumbs or in front of you if that's better this morning. Reach those fingertips up, but don't let the shoulders shrug up around the ears. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Exhaling, bringing those hands down, sitting back into that nice stretch. Ardha Hanumasana, half split pose. Inhaling, sweeping forwards, bringing the spine up nice and long. We're going to wrap the arms around behind us, interlacing the fingers again. Roll those shoulders back and down. The chest is proud as we push our hands away from the lower back. And again, here's your little balance challenge. Find your gazing point. Pull your belly in, help you to balance. Inhale. As you exhale, easing the hips back, straighten that left leg. Oh, I'm wobbly this morning, hinging forwards over that leg. Bring the hands down if you need to. And inhaling, flattening that foot, bringing the hands forwards. We're stepping back into downward facing dog again. From here, let's lower the knees, lower the hips back for our child's pose. Maybe bringing the knees wide, keeping the feet together, so we can really get down inside the legs. Make a pillow for the forehead with the hands. And just let everything relax down. When you're ready, we're going to bring ourselves up to a high kneeling position. So we're high on the knees, and we're coming into gate pose this morning, Parigasana. So we're going to bring the right leg out to the side. We're going to point the toes away from us. And just play around if you need to with the distance. My heel is roughly in line with my knee, but you can bring it a little bit further forwards or backwards if that feels better for your knee. Just find that comfortable place. Make sure that your body is in line with this leg, if that makes sense. We're not sort of leaning off to one side. The foot is flat on the floor. We'll bring the hands into prayer at the heart. Make sure that we're pushing the hips forwards. We're rolling the shoulders back and down and the spine is long. Take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to slide the right hand down the right leg and we're going to reach the top arm over. So don't lean on that knee. Try and keep the body square with the front edge of your mat. Inhaling back to centre, and as we exhale, we're coming over. We're going to try and bring the left fingertips down to the mat, but don't allow the waist to collapse. Don't sort of flop into it. Keep pushing those hips forwards and sweep the right arm over. Lovely, inhaling, coming back up to centre. We're going to turn the foot now so that the toes are pointing forwards. The toes are pointing in the same direction as the gaze. Take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to slide that right arm down, hand down the right leg, reaching the left arm over. You might find you can go a bit further, you might find you can't go as far. Just noticing that and not judging it or questioning it. Different rotation of the femur affects that. Inhaling back to centre and exhaling over to the left hand side. Again, keep pushing those hips forwards and up. Don't allow them to collapse. Lovely big side stretch. Inhaling back to centre. As we exhale, we're going to hinge forward from the hips and bring the hands down to the mat. Lovely, so we'll feel that on the inside of the knee. From here, if that feels like enough, if that's enough for your knees, your back, stay here. If you're comfortable and you want a little bit more, on your next exhale, we're going to sit the hips back and we're going to bring the buttocks down towards the left heel and then lower the body over that bent knee. So it's a very strange child's pose. Keep breathing to the inside of that right knee. Enjoy that stretch from the groin all the way down the inside of the leg. Take a breath in here as you exhale, strongly bringing yourself back up onto your hands on one knee. And walking the hands in, coming back up. Let's tuck that right leg back in. And we'll see what the other side will give us this morning. So we're going to bring the left foot out. Toes pointing away from us. Squaring the hips with the front edge of the mat. Rolling the shoulders back and down, the spine is long. Let's bring the left hand to the left leg. Take a breath in, and as we exhale, let's slide down that left leg and sweep the right arm over. Keep pulling the belly in, don't allow the hips to collapse backwards. Inhaling back to centre and exhaling, let's bring those right fingertips down, sweeping the left arm over. Push those hips up. Beautiful. Inhaling back to centre. Before we go over to this side, let's turn the orientation of the toes. The toes are in the same direction as the gaze now. Take a breath in as we exhale, sliding down that left leg. So try not to lean on that leg. We're supporting our upper body by itself. Inhaling back to centre and exhaling, let's bring that right hand down. Sweeping the left arm over. Really reach those fingertips away, feel that line of energy from your heel through to your fingertips. Inhaling back to centre. As we exhale, we're hinging forwards from the hips, bringing the hands down. Again, stay here if that's enough for you. If you want a little bit more on your next exhale, sitting the hips back and down. Folding the upper body over that knee. You don't have any discomfort in that knee, so bend it, move it if you find feeling any. Back off. Okay, when you're ready, take a breath in. As you exhale, bring yourself strongly back up onto your hands and knees. Walk those hands in. We're going to fold that left leg in and we're going to take another moment in child's pose. here, bring yourself back up onto your hands and knees. Tuck those toes under. I'm going to float the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So you should feel some more ease now in the back of those legs. Perhaps noticing a difference from the first downward facing dog of the day. Just take a moment. And then I'm going to walk the hands in towards the feet, just so that we're hanging there in Uttanasana. Might be nice here to grasp opposite elbows, really allow the head to hang, the weight of the head and the arms, feeling the length of that all the way down the back of the body. And then releasing the fingertips back to the floor. We're going to heel toe the feet out to the width of the mat. Toes are pointing outwards, heels are inwards, they're at 45 degrees. We're going to come into Malasana now, yogi squat. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, let's slip the hips back and down for Malasana. Bringing the elbows inside the knees, hands into prayer at the heart. Feet should be flat. If you can't flatten the feet, bring the feet a little bit wider. One day our heels will be touching in this pose. Take a breath in as you exhale, bring the hands down, lifting the hips up. Let's give the hips a wiggle from one side to the other. We're going to do one more Malasana, so enjoy the stretch of the legs here. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, let's sit the hips back and down again for Malasana. Hands are in prayer at the heart, bringing the thumbs into the heart, plugging them into the heart space. Beautiful, well done Helen, that's lovely. Take a breath in as you exhale, bring the hands down, lift the hips. Wiggle them around, enjoy that stretch, and then we'll heel toe the feet back into hip distance. Then we're going to roll ourselves one vertebra at a time, like a ragdoll, all the way up to the top, through every little bit of the spine, rolling the shoulders back as you get to the top of the mat. Beautiful. We're going to do a couple of sun salutations now, so grab a quick drink if you need to before we do that. Get ourselves nice and warm now. So we're coming to stand at the top of the mat with the feet hip distance. Spread the toes out, ground the feet down into the mat. We're going to engage the kneecaps so that the thighs are working, legs are active. Tucking the tailbone under as we roll the shoulders back and down, engaging the belly button, palms face forwards. Jaw is parallel to the floor, we're standing up lovely and tall and proud. Gently closing the eyes just for a moment. Feel how strong, how grounded, how firm you are in this pose. Then open the eyes, taking a breath in. Let's sweep the arms all the way up, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, swan diving down, hinging from those hips, fingertips to the mat, bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, lift and lengthen, flat back. Exhale, refold, fingertips come down, bend the knees so you can bring the hands down flat. We're stepping back into plank. Lowering the knees, lowering the chin and chest towards the mat, keeping those elbows tucked in. We're pushing through for a gentle cobra. We're not really using the arms at all, we're just using the back muscles. Feel how strong those back muscles are at the side of the spine. Exhaling, lowering the body down, tucking the toes under. Let's float back to downward facing dog. And this being Surya Namaskar A, we're taking 5 breaths here. So settle yourself in, melt the chest through. Spread the hands and the feet out. Steady the breath. Inhaling, we're bending the knees, we're taking the gaze through the hands, and we're going to step the right foot and the left to the top of the mat for Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen out of Uttanasana. Exhale, refold. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way up to the top, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, hands in prayer at the heart. And we're going to do that again. Inhaling, sweeping the arms all the way up. Exhale, hinging forwards. Make a really big circle with those hands as you bring the fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, refold, the hands come down, stepping back into plank. Lovely strong plank, everything active. Lowering the knees, chin and chest towards the mat, hold it there. And then pushing through for perhaps a slightly stronger cobra, engaging the arms a little but not straightening them. Exhaling, floating back to downward facing dog. 5 more breaths here. 2. 3. 4. And 5. On your next inhale, bending the knees, taking the gaze through the hands, either stepping or hopping to the top of the mat for Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, refold, fingertips come down. Inhale, reaching all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands in prayer at the heart. Okay, Surya Namaskar B. Coming to stand again at the top of the mat. Inhale, reach those arms all the way up to the top. Exhale, we're sitting back and down into chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhaling, as we exhale, folding forwards for Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, refold, stepping both feet back for plank. Lovely, knees, chin and chest through to cobra, or if you've seen your practice, chaturanga through to upward facing dog. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. We're turning the left heel in this time, the left toes are out, and we're stepping the right foot forwards. We're coming into warrior one. Bending that right knee, inhaling, reach the arms all the way up. Gaze the thumbs if it feels good. Exhaling, the hands come down, stepping back into plank. Again, knees, chin and chest or chaturanga through to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. We're turning the right heel in this time, we're stepping the left foot forwards. Beautiful, inhaling, reaching the arms all the way up. Virabhadrasana 1. Exhaling, the hands come down, we're stepping back into plank. Lowering down, knees, chin and chest or chaturanga, through to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhaling, back to downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Steady the breath now. Enjoy the moment of stillness. And inhaling, bending the knees, taking the gaze through the hands. Hop, foot, skip or jump to the top of the mat for forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, refold. Take a breath in, let's bend the knees, let's sweep the arms all the way up for chair pose, Utkatasana. Then straightening the legs, reaching the arms all the way up. Exhaling the hands into prayer at the heart. Well done everybody. Grab another drink if you need to, hopefully you're nice and warm now after that. Okay, we've got, where are we at now? Ah, there we go. Okay, bringing yourself up to the top of the mat now. Bring the hands into prayer at the heart. Find a gazing point, find a drishti, something to focus on that's not going to move. I'm going to firm the left foot and start to take the weight over to the left. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, we're bending the right knee up into the chest. We're pointing the toes down towards the floor, so we're just balancing on one leg. No big deal. Keep breathing, keep focusing. Ignore the cramp in your right toes. It may just be me. And then as we exhale, we're going to step the right foot all the way back for a high lunge. So we're staying high on the toes. Make sure that the spine is nice and long. Left knee is bent. We can still see the toes though. Take a breath in here as we exhale. Let's reach the arms all the way up. Gaze can come to the fingertips if it feels good. Or keep it in front of you if that feels better. And we're going to interlace the hands behind us just as we did before. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Push the hands away from the lower back. Just a moment here. We're going to exhale, bring the fingertips down either side of the left foot. Then we're going to step the right foot about halfway up the mat, turning the toes out. Straightening the left leg. Take a breath in, lengthen the spine forwards, and as you exhale, hinging forwards over that left leg. Like pyramid pose. Keep a bend in that knee if you need to. And keep the hips nice and square, don't allow them to wander off to the left hand side. Take a breath in as you exhale. Let's step the right foot to join the left at the top of the mat. We're in a forward fold. Inhaling, we're going to lower the hips back and down. We're sitting up into chair, Utkatasana, just as we did a moment ago. Then we're going to bring the hands into prayer at the heart. Legs are still bent. Then we're going to hopefully pop the left ankle, she says confidently, on top of the right knee. Still sitting down into chair, allowing that left knee to open. Keep the left foot active. Inhale, straighten that right leg, bring yourself up to standing, reach the arms all the way up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands into prayer at the heart. And let's have a see what our balance is like on the other side. So spreading those right toes out this time. Firm in that foot, starting to take the weight over to that side as we bring the hands into prayer at the heart and we find our drishti. Take a breath in as we exhale. Let's bring that left leg all the way up, point those toes down towards the mat. Lovely, really well done. All the core muscles working to do that, all the ankle muscles working. Exhaling, stepping that left leg all the way back for a high lunge, staying high on the toes. Roll the shoulders back, make sure the spine is long, right knee deeply bent. Inhale, let's reach those arms all the way up. Gaze to the thumbs if it feels good. Exhale, and let's sweep the hands round behind us, interlace those fingers, push the hands away from the lower back. We're building some stamina in those legs. Taking a breath in as we exhale, let's bring the fingertips down either side of that right foot. And let's hop the left foot about halfway up the mat, turning the toes out, straightening the right leg. Inhaling, lengthen the spine forwards, and exhale, folding deeply over that right leg. Again, don't allow those hips to wander off to the right, and keep a bend of that knee if you need to. Nobody will know, nobody can see you. Take a breath in, let's step the left foot to join the right at the top of the mat for Uttanasana. Exhaling, let's lower the hips back and down, sitting up into chair pose, Utkatasana. Lovely. Bringing the hands into prayer at the heart. Bringing the right ankle onto the left knee and sitting our hips back and down again into chair. We had a little apprentice there for a moment with Katie, that was nice. Releasing those legs, bringing yourself up to stand and reach the arms for a slight back bend. Exhaling, hands into prayer at the heart. Lovely, well done everybody. Just take a moment there to feel into both feet. To feel we've balanced on each foot. Let's feel into both feet now. Take a breath in, we're reaching the arms all the way up. Exhaling, we're swan diving forwards. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, the hands come down, let's step back to downward facing dog. Then we're going to lower the knees And just take a moment in child's pose before we come to our seated postures. Walking the hands in, let's bring ourselves round to sit down with our legs straight out in front of us. So we're sat on both sitting bones, move anything out of the way that you might need to get to that place. We're pulling the toes up towards us. We're going to place the hands down by the hips. Slight pressure into the hands, tucking the chin gently and taking the gaze to the big toes for Dandasana staff pose. And just feel how active everything in the body is when you're in this pose. If you're pulling the toes up, you're putting some pressure into the hands, you'll feel almost everything working. Inhaling, let's sweep the arms up overhead, gaze to the thumbs. And exhale, let's hinge forwards for Paschimottanasana. And try not to go too far, just until you feel some resistance. We're starting to wind down a little bit now. So hands might just be by the side of the legs, might be on the feet. If the spine rounds a little, don't worry too much at this point. We've already done a lot of work into the back of the legs. Inhale and easing yourself up. We're going to come to lie down on our backs now. Knees are bent, feet are flat to the floor. We're going to bring the feet in towards the buttocks. We're going to do a couple of bridge pose variations. So bringing the arms by the side with the palms facing down. Taking a breath in. As we exhale, let's flatten that lumbar curve and just tilt the pelvis ever so slightly. Inhale, release. Exhaling, let's flatten that curve, lift the hips. Lifting just up onto the lower ribs. Inhaling, lowering down. Exhaling, lifting the hips. Lower ribs onto perhaps the middle of the ribs. Feeling just a bit more weight into the back of the shoulders. Squeeze those glutes. Inhale, lowering back down. Let's try and go all the way up this time. So as we exhale, lift those hips onto the back of the ribs, back of the shoulders. Flatten the hands down, lift those hips, squeeze the glutes, push strongly into the feet without allowing the knees to wander out. Then inhale, lowering back down. And again, replace the feet if you need to, ground them deeply into the mat. Exhaling, lifting the hips. Coming onto the back of the ribs and onto the back of the shoulders. Squeeze the glutes, push into the feet. If it feels good, you can roll onto the outside of the right shoulder so you can tuck the left in, and vice versa, to tuck the right in underneath. Clasping the hands behind you if you can flatten the arms to the floor. Keep pushing. And then releasing the hands, gently rolling yourself all the way back down. Okay, this time we're going to bring the right ankle on top of the left knee. We're going to pull the toes on the right foot up towards the knee so that that foot is active. Take a breath in as we exhale. We're coming up into a one-legged bridge. Squeeze those hips, and if that feels too much, release that foot. If it's too much in the hip or the knee, release that foot. Just do a normal bridge. Inhaling, lowering down. Just take a moment there and allow that right knee to fall away from you. Just stay quite still. And on your next exhale, we're going to bring those legs in towards us just by using the abs. So we've still got that right ankle on the left knee. We're pulling those legs in towards us. When you're ready, we can thread the right arm through the hole that we've created. The left hand can come around and meet it either behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Or if you prefer to keep your feet on the floor, if that's enough this morning, that's absolutely fine too. Keep the legs active, whichever pose you're in, keep pulling the toes up towards the shins. So you can feel the opening on the outside of that right hip. Releasing the hands, releasing the feet down to the mat, both feet. Let's have a look at that on the other side. So let's bring the left ankle to the right knee. And if you already know from the other side that it was too much for you, then just keep both feet on the floor and repeat the bridge pose as we normally do. So flatten the hands to the floor, take a breath in, and as we exhale, lifting the hips onto the back of the ribs. You won't get as good a curve as good. Good's not the word. You won't get a stronger curve in the back. That's not what we're looking for just at this moment. Squeeze those glutes, lift the hips. Inhale, lowering down. Hips are on the floor, left ankle stays on the right knee. Just allow that left knee to fall away for a moment. When you're ready, on your next exhale, let's pull those legs in towards us. Toes are active on both legs, pull up towards the shins. Hold it there, just using your core. And then we're going to bring the left hand through that hole, wrapping the right hand around behind, either grasping behind the thigh, or maybe in front of the shin. Feet can remain on the floor if that's enough for you this morning. Every exhale, we're on a little more release in that left hip. Releasing the hands, releasing the legs. Feet are flat on the floor just for a moment. And then we're going to breathe both legs into the chest. I'm going to grasp the outside edges of the feet, or maybe the inside edges if that feels better for you. And we're going to bring the knees in towards the armpits for a happy baby. The soles of the feet are strongly up to the ceiling. We've still got active legs, we're still pulling the toes towards the shins, and then we're using the hands to ease the knees towards the armpits. If you find your tailbone is lifting like mine is, just make the move to bring it towards the mat. It might not make it, but you can feel the difference as you make that move towards the mat. Releasing the hands, releasing the feet, bringing yourself now into your version of Savasana. So that might be legs outstretched. In traditional Savasana, arms are away from the side with the palms facing up, feet flop out to the edges of the mat, chin gently tucked and everything grounding down. You might prefer to keep the knees bent and the feet flat to the floor, it's your choice. Gently closing the eyes or maybe just lowering the gaze, getting yourself nice and comfy. Allowing everything to relax down into the mat. Returning our awareness now to the breath. Noticing the inhale. Cool and dry as it enters the nostrils. Travelling down into the chest, into the belly. Belly falling, the chest falling, as the exhale leaves the nostrils warm and moist. That effortless rhythm. Just observing the inhale and the exhale. And you may be able to notice a difference in the quality of the breath from the start of the practice. Might be smoother, might be easier, maybe a little slower. But if you don't notice a difference, then there's no judgment there. Just notice it and let it go. And then we're gently going to bring our awareness to the parts of the body that are in contact with the ground. Beginning with the heels, feeling them grounding down into the mat, feeling how heavy they are. Feeling the back buttocks heavy, spreading across the mat, relaxed. Feeling the back of the chest, the shoulders, grounding down into the mat, the shoulders falling open. Feeling the back of the hands and the backs of the arms. Feeling the back of the head relaxed, heavy. Feeling the whole of the body heavy, grounding down into the mat. Let everything go. You can let go. And gently now starting to deepen your breathing. Bringing your awareness back into the room. Noticing any sounds outside of the room. Becoming aware of any sounds inside the room. Gently starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe rotating the ankles and the wrists if that feels nice. Taking a big stretch with the arms overhead. And the length of the body all the way from the fingertips to the tips of your toes. And when you're ready, bringing the knees into the chest and giving yourself a really big hug. Maybe rolling around on the lower back a little bit if that feels nice. And slowly in your own time, bringing yourself over onto your right hand side. Take a moment there. And then when you're ready, gently easing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Grounded down through both sitting bones, the spine nice and long. Let's bring the hands into prayer at the heart. And still with the eyes gently closed. Just taking a moment to offer some gratitude, whatever the practice has brought you this morning. And a moment of gratitude from me to you for joining me this morning. Namaste. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.